Paul Maurice, Stanley Cup champion, joins me now. And Paul, you waited your whole life to be called that. What's 4 more games, right? And as we were waiting to visit with you, I saw you lean back, your eyes close, and I as best as you can, how do you make this moment make sense? How do you articulate the feelings within?
Not well. I'm usually not lost for words. But there's this incredible sense of connection to all the people, even though they're not here, my mom and dad, my brothers, the whole family that you need to support you over time. And I kind of begged them to support me for 30 years before we could share some joy with them. And that's what this whole thing feels like at this point, right? Just that connection. Every player that comes over, you have this incredible connection with, and the coaches that you share those moments with. But you're right, like the wives and the children and the people that get moved from town to town so you can follow this silly dream and chase that damn trophy. And it's nice to be able to catch up to it every once in a while.
The list of things I appreciate, Paul, about you, it's lengthy, but just the way you articulate things, sometimes profane, that's fine, I'm the same, but always thoughtful, always measured. And I felt that throughout this Cup final, as it went from 3-0 to 3-1 to 3-2 to 3-3, I felt like you always projected calm. But those are long flights back and forth, and that's a really talented club you're trying to beat. When your mind wanders and you're trying to figure out how do I put the boys in the right frame of mind for tonight, where does the mind go with there's so much time to think about what's happening?
What you want. And somebody had asked me, do you enjoy the game? Like, we lost game 5, and I love that game because we played great. It is about the result. Obviously, you got to win a Stanley Cup. But what you want is for your team to look a certain way. We have an identity, a thing that we all bond together around. So you get into that game tonight and you're playing the first period, you're going, okay, it's done. Not that we're going to win, but this is as good as we can compete. We're playing as well as we possibly can. So that's where the mind goes. How do I get them back to that place that they can play with enough freedom so we have structure and we have discipline and all that? But what we needed to, and what we were different about us tonight, is that we played with some freedom, that we made plays, that we didn't play the game not to make the mistakes and certainly not to lose, but we tried to win the game.
You're the best club in the sport in the third period all season long, and you're carrying a 2-1 lead into the last 20 minutes, and it's 20 minutes to be a forever team, right? Is there something that needs to be said, or at that point is it just that your hands are off the wheel and you let it go?
Yeah, the hands came off the wheel about February, so that was done. And we were careening out of control at the time, but
bounding into the guardrails.
We get into about exactly. So there's 6 minutes left to go in the second period. Sam Ryan had scored that goal, and everybody is standing on the bench, starting to lose their minds, right?
Yep.
And boys, we cannot stand for a period and a half freaking out every time somebody touches the puck. So just tried to go in there, get them to breathe a little bit. We know what we do. And then we invented a new idea. We just iced the puck 75 times in the third period, so that was it.
Well, brilliant strategy. Listen, I don't know the first thing about coaching your sport, Paul, but look, they got 97, they got 28, they got Hyman, they got a boatload of guys that can put the puck in the net. As best you can, I can't imagine how long it takes for those 20 minutes to exhaust themselves. How are you processing those moments?
We talk about this. We talk about this from training camp on. When there's 8 minutes left to go in the third period in the deciding game, if we've got this right, we're saying, I hope the clock slows down, not speeds up.
What do you mean by that?
To be present, to be in the moment. I don't want that thing to go. I don't want the game to end like that. I'm not wishing for this thing to be over so we can call ourselves Stanley Cup champions. I want to live the moment that we're in. I'm never, very probably ever getting a Game 7 Stanley Cup final ever in my life again. I don't want it to speed up. I want it to slow down.
Love it. Be present. Be where your feet are, right? That's what they say. And it goes the way you want it to, Paul, so you don't have to spend the rest of your life wondering what if. So I'm not going to ask you what if. I'm going to ask you instead, now what? Now you're a Stanley Cup champion. Your name's on that thing forever and ever. No matter what happens from right now until the end of time, You're on the cup. How's that change your life?
I hope it doesn't. I hope I'm learning to live my life well enough that the trophy doesn't define how I treat the people around me. Mm-hmm. But I'm also going to skate the hell out of these guys in training camp because I got carte blanche now. I can do whatever the hell I want.
You sure can. And as a final
Brutal camp coming up, boys. Yeah.
Giddy up. As just a final thought, Paul,
Yeah.
we showed that moment where you got your hands on it, and I don't think we can quote you, and that's fine. But the feeling that goes through, right? You wait your whole life, and then it's in your midst, and then what? You want to be present in that second right there. What's that? What's that
the
all?
first part of that, well, I said some unkind things to the Stanley Cup because I had to chase it for so long. And then I closed my eyes and I wanted to feel it. I wasn't going to remember a lot of things, but I'll never forget the weight of it and how it felt. And then I opened my eyes and all the players were in front of me smiling, and that's when the profanity came out. Because that line I use in that room all the time.
Paul, I want to let you get to that room and celebrate with your folks. You're really kind. You don't root for anybody in this business, right? You don't root for outcomes, but I'm thrilled for you that this journey led you to this moment because you earned it and you deserve it. I appreciate your time tonight, Paul.
Thank you very much. And I thank you.
Yep, Paul Maurice, Stanley Cup champion. That's awesome. Long time coming. Between the regular season and the playoffs, he coached nearly 2,000 games, the most before a coach's first title in Stanley Cup history.